Hey Meeple people, and on today's vlog, we're going to be playing Fleets of Fortune by Roxie Games. Let's go get that treasure. Arr!
Hoist the main anchor and batten down the hatches as you and your opponents compete to rule the 7 seas in Fleets of Fortune. Recruit your crew members through influence, put them to work to amass your wealth, and use your riches to acquire your fleets of ships to conquer the world. Rough tides await, and it will take an even rougher band of buccaneers to heft and hornswoggle their way to the top. Do you have what it takes, or are you just another cowardly landlubber?
Hey Meeple people, and hello Sarah.
Hi there.
So what game are we playing on today's vlog, Sarah?
Today we're going to be playing Fleets of Fortune, a 2 to 5 player game from Roxie Games. They sent us this copy for the channel. Thank you very much. This is a game in which we are attempting to amass a pirate fleet of ships, as well as a captain. And the first player to do that is going to win the game. Probably. All right, so would you like to know how to play?
Yes, please.
All right, so it's a pretty simple card game. On your turn, you can do 2 things, and you have all of the following options. The first is that you can take influence cards from your hand. I'm going to show you mine. You might have some cards like this, right? And you can exchange any one of these cards or more, if you like, for new influence cards. And the reason that you might do this is because another thing that you can do on your turn is purchase cards. And in order to do that, you need symbols. So here, where I would need 2 parrots and some ale, well, I have 1 parrot and some ale, and I have a wild that I could use for the second parrot if I wanted to. Or I could say, you know, I'd really like to hold on to this for another turn. I'm gonna turn in these 2 flintlocks that I don't need and see if I can get some other cards instead. So for an action, I could exchange 2 cards and I get 2 more. Unfortunately, it wasn't a parrot, but like I said, I could use this wild since I have it as well. For a second action on my turn, I could exchange cards that I have for new crew members. And I think that's what I'll do with my second action this time. So like I said here, I would need 2 parrots and an ale. Well, I've got 1 parrot, an ale, and a wild. So I'm going to take these cards from my hand, I'm going to discard them, and then I'm going to add this crew member to my crew. Now they produce a clear or white gem, and as an action on my turn, I can produce gems or abilities from different crew members that I have. So let's pretend we're a little bit later in the game and I have accumulated some things. Let's just say that I've accumulated this crew right here. All right, so one of the other actions that I can take on my turn is to select a crew member and have them produce their resources, right? So if I selected the diamond crew member here, then he would produce 1 diamond for me. If I selected my sapphire crew members, they'll produce 2 sapphires for me. Unfortunately, my captain doesn't produce anything, but he does allow me to exchange diamonds that I've accumulated. So if I have a lot of one color, or maybe I just have a few here or there that I don't really need and I need some other color, then my captain is going to let me exchange those gems. Another thing that I can do on my turn is I can take the gems that I've acquired. Let's say that I had already acquired these gems on previous turns. Okay, cool. There we go. I'd already acquired these gems on previous turns. One of the actions that I can take on my turn is to purchase a ship. And the way that you can do this is with gems or with doubloons. So right now I have 4 red and 2 white. I could buy the Duchess right here. So I'm going to go ahead and buy the Duchess, and it's going to take all of my gems. But now I have 1 of the 4 ships that I need to hopefully win the game. The last couple of things that I can do on my turn is to use the ability of crew members that would not produce gems. So like these guys, they would produce gems for me. If I had maybe a thief in my hand instead, if this thief was on my crew as well, I could use the ability of the thief. There's also mutiny cards, and each of those affect the game in different ways. So I could use their ability just like I would with the crew members that produce gems. And then finally, the last thing that I could possibly do on my turn is to just take a pirate booty card. And there's all different kinds of things going on in the pirate booty deck. Sometimes there are cards that are like stand-ins for the gems. So it would just kind of be like you can use this card instead of the gem you need. Sometimes there are cards that are going to force your opponent to sacrifice things or let you steal things from your opponent. Sometimes it's going to be things that negatively affect you. So there's all kinds of interesting stuff in the pirate booty deck. On your turn, you're going to take any 2 actions that you like from all of the ones that I've described, and then your turn is over and it becomes the next player's turn. We will continue in turn order until one player has acquired all 4 of the different ships and a captain. And when one player has acquired one of each of the ships and a captain, we're going to finish that round. And if no other player has acquired all 4 ships and a captain, then the player who did wins.
Cool.
Should we try it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right.
So we're going to go ahead and jump into Fleets of Fortune by Roxie Games. All right, we'll get back to you guys in a little bit. Toodles! Welcome back, Meeple People, and hello, Sarah.
Hi there.
So, Sarah, how's it going so far in Fleets of Fortune?
I think it's going pretty good. We both have a captain. I have 1 ship, you have 2 ships.
Yes, yes.
And we have a good bit of crew built up. You have more than I do, but
I
both
stole
have...
some of your crew as well.
Yeah, you
so
did.
I mean,
You committed a mutiny a couple of times. And took some of my crew members. But I think it's going well for the most part. I have a small but effective crew. I also have some stashed pirate booty.
Yeah, you have a lot of stashed pirate booty. I have 0.
Woohoo.
Woohoo.
So in the pirate booty, like we said earlier, there could be things that negatively affect you or your opponents. There could also be loot, like money, which you can purchase cards with, like this one here.
Like mutiny cards or captains.
Yeah, like mutiny cards, captain cards.
Or even fleets.
Yeah, or you can use the money to purchase ships for your fleet if you get enough of it. So I do have a little bit of booty stashed, which might help me later, but we shall see. What do you think so far, Nick?
I'm enjoying it. So they say it's kind of like Splendor. And with that in mind, I love Splendor, but this is just a little bit different because it's just cards, which is like more of a compact travel form.
I think it's also mechanically in Splendor, you're using cards and chips to pay for things, right?
Yeah.
And in here, you're using cards to generate the gems, which you buy things with. So
Yeah.
It does feel a little bit like Splendor, but I think there is some sort of like key differences in that. Like if this were Splendor, right, I could use this and this to purchase those cards over there, but it's not. I can only use these to purchase these cards, and I use these cards to generate these. So it is kind of like Splendor, but I would say there are some key differences for sure.
Yeah.
I think that this one is fun and interesting. I think it's a little challenging to... There's some puzzle aspect here, right? One of the puzzly natures, or I don't know, I guess one thing that makes it feel puzzly to me is that you can only ever have 5 of these cards in your hand, and you need different types to acquire different cards. So if I have like 2 sabers, but I don't have the third, I could discard like from my remaining 3 cards and draw, hoping that I acquire the saber that I need. But if I don't, then maybe I want to pivot my strategy. Maybe now I have, cards that are going to get me this one down here instead. So it's interesting. You have to be kind of careful not to pivot too frequently. I think that's maybe I've been doing that a little bit too much in this game. I've been like, trying to go too many different directions with the cards that I have instead of, focusing on kind of like one direction. But I think that it provides some interesting and thoughtful decisions to make, having this
limitation.
Yeah,
or like
this
this
function the way that it does.
this cap. Okay.
I think it's interesting. There are things that you can do, right? Like you can acquire normal crew members to get those gems, and then you can acquire like this specialty crew members that you can use to like sort of manipulate things to your advantage. And I think it's an interesting mix of the two. The amount of each is interesting to me. Like there are not that many standard crew. Like right now you can see sort of in our draw row right here, there's only one standard crew member right now. I think there's a really interesting sort of balance in the game between, and this is in most engine building games, but between building your engine and then actually using your engine. When do you kind of transition from the build part to the, actually do stuff part?
Yeah, because I agree with that, because the normal crew members are, you have to build them, but you don't want to start using them right away. But then also your specialty characters, they, other than the captain, they basically, after you use them, you have to send them back to the crew, so they're only a one-time use.
Yeah, and they can be really powerful. Like the mutiny cards let you take another crew member from an opponent, and the thief cards let you actually take gems from your opponent. So they can be really powerful when played at the right time. But they are expensive. You have to play a lot of the right cards in order to acquire them. Yeah,
and then as you're trying to go for that, your opponent could be getting the right cards to get the basic members.
Yeah.
And then they could be just getting, all the rubies, diamonds, and all that good stuff, so they can buy fleets faster, or even, and then have that captain to exchange. So if they, if you take something that I needed, that was saving up for, it's like, okay, whatever, let me use my captain to go ahead and change that. So yeah, I really like the puzzly nature that this game offers. And, it's just cards, so you can play as in a plethora of locations too. That's what, another
Yeah,
plus.
We've got it kind of spread out right here, but it doesn't have to be by any means.
No.
Another thing that I think is interesting is that in the ship cards, there's different configurations for the cost. So right now, the top card in this deck costs 4 diamonds and 2 rubies. However, if Nick buys this before I can, then the next card is actually 3 diamonds and 3 sapphires. So the cost is totally different. That in and of itself provides a little bit of strategy too. We were at a point where I was getting ready to purchase a yellow ship. And I was looking at what Nick had available and the cost of all the ships, because I was like, okay, if Nick is able to get what he needs to buy this yellow ship, then the next yellow ship might not have, it's not going to have the same cost, right? So I was like, if he gets there before I do, then I want to make sure that what I'm acquiring right now will still be useful to me, even if the ship that I was kind of hoping to go after isn't available to me when I am finally able to go after it. So even that adds a little bit of strategy and depth of complexity to this one too. So
cool.
I think it's interesting.
Awesome.
Should we get back to it?
Yeah, you want to jump back in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump back into Fleets of Fortune by Roxie Games, and we'll get back to you guys at the end to see who is the winner and the loser. All right, toodles! Welcome back, people, and hey, Sarah.
Hey.
So, how did it end?
Nick won.
Yeah.
He accumulated his entire fleet of 4 ships and a captain. I was not able to catch up. I had 2 ships, and I was well on my way to my 3rd, and I already had my captain, but he was able to get his whole fleet together before I was. So he wins.
Woot woot.
What did you think, Nick?
I like this. I like how, like the cards, like the card aspect, and the artwork's cool, and also just the freaking special cards are make it or break it. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, so we play, we get a handle on the game before we record, and Sarah had all the thieves. All the thieves. I could not get any thieves.
Yeah.
And anytime I wanted to do anything, she's go, oh, that's some nice gems you got there. And then snatch.
Yeah.
All the gems I had accumulated were stolen. But this time I was able to, I saw that, so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get some thieves of my own. And even the mutiny cards in the game, I was getting those as well, so I can steal some of her people. So as long as you, I think, get at least like 2 or 3 of a color, I think it's like really important to get a little bit of everything, especially if you're able to get like 2 or more of one color, then you can produce real fast. And then if you have the captain, doesn't even matter if the person buys out from under you, you can go ahead and exchange 3 of the same for 2 of the same as something else. And I mean, even to the booty cards were the booty cards. Oh my gosh, the pirates booty cards were very helpful because they can give you
They're a double-edged sword though.
Yeah,
Because they can be helpful, but they can also hurt you too. So
yeah, definitely.
And I think that's at first I wasn't sure I really liked that. I just wanted it to be like all good things.
Yeah.
But I think that there are strategic points in the game where you're like, okay, I'm not really sure. I don't have enough cards to like acquire something else, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, or whatever. And I think that the pirate's booty, being a mix of good and bad things, made it an interesting to say. It wasn't just like, oh, I'll just take one of these and it'll be something great. Like it was like, well, I think I'm going to take this, but there's a chance that maybe that might not be like great for me. So maybe I should do something else. So it even made the decision of when to take a very simple action. It even made that more interesting by having it be like a combined deck of good and bad things.
Definitely. So what were your thoughts kind of on it, Sarah?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that it's got a decent like engine builder feel to it. I think that it's fairly simple to understand. It's easy to pick up on. It plays, I would say, probably in about 30 to 45 minutes, which is a nice length of time. It's not super quick, but it doesn't take longer than an hour either.
Yeah, I think if you even add more players, it'll go by quicker because the crew card, we only took out 4 influence cards. We didn't take out any crew cards. So I think things would have gotten faster. See
more cycling.
Yeah, we see more cycling.
Yeah.
And also we probably have seen a lot more people using the mutiny and
yeah, probably.
And those, you see, even in a higher player count, those cards are going to be even more valuable because of just stealing from other players, because you only have so many crew cards. And like Sarah said, there's a double-edged sword with some of these pirates booty cards, because there are those that say walk the plank, and you have to go ahead and
you have to
sacrifice one of your people. But yeah, I mean, you can still sacrifice your captain, but still like that's an end game condition. But at the same time, once you have your own captain, no one wants like more captains.
I think, as far as I can tell, if I see this correctly, all of the sort of like standard crew, the gemstone related crew members, they only ever cost 3 symbols.
Yeah.
And then the captains,
all the special ones are more.
Exactly. All the specialty crew members cost 4 symbols. So you can sacrifice one of your like specialty crew members in order to fulfill the requirements of the walk the plank pirates booty card, but in doing so you will sacrifice a card that's more expensive. So I think there's a lot of that kind of thing here, right, where like it's pretty straightforward, but when you start to think about like the consequences of the actions that you may take, or that kind of thing, I think that it remains interesting. It sort of keeps you on your feet. And I like it. I think at first I felt like it was maybe a little fiddly. But while we were playing, I was thinking, to me, it doesn't actually seem fiddly. What it seems like is that you are sort of building up this engine, and instead of just building an engine really quickly and really smoothly throughout the course of the game. What's happening is you're building this engine and there's time built in so that things can happen that will change your course, right?
Yeah.
And at first I was like, man, this feels a little bit fiddly. Instead of doing like steps 1, 2, 3, why couldn't we just go like step 1, step 3 and like just skip the middle one entirely? But by having those extra steps built in, like I said, they're increasing the amount of time that it takes for your engine to work, and that's allowing for sort of course, I won't say course corrections, but like course adjustments where another player may do something to affect your engine, right?
Yeah.
And I think that really is, to me, where the game shines, because it's in those moments where you're vulnerable and something could happen to you that you're like, like, oh, okay, I hope that, he doesn't do this, or I hope that, they don't do this, or that, this doesn't happen, or whatever. And that is, to me, what keeps the game fresh and interesting. And I think it's because you're not just allowed to build like this totally streamlined engine where you're just like, wham, bam, bam, done,
Yeah.
You have to like, okay, I'm building this, and I can't completely build it on my turn, so I'll have to wait until my next turn to finish it. And then in the meantime, this could happen or that could happen, and things might, be totally different by the time it gets back around to me. And I think that makes it really unique and interesting. I like it. I like the theme. I like the art is nice. I feel like they did a pretty good job with the production. There were a few areas where I felt like it had a bit of an indie game feel to it. Could have used just a little bit of polish here or there. Nothing major, but like Nick was saying, there is that exchange rate where if you have a captain, then you can exchange, 3 of one kind of gem for 2 of another, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I felt like it would have been nice maybe if that was just printed on the captain cards. Just a couple little areas like that where it would have been...
And the player's aides were saying one thing, and then it wasn't like it didn't say like something different. It just said, it didn't say it all.
Yeah, so I feel like there were just a couple areas, just not many at all, but just a few areas here or there where the game could have just used like just a tiny little nudge further, not even in a different direction, just further in the direction they were already going, and it would have made it feel a little bit less unpolished, maybe we'll say.
Yeah.
But they were very, very small areas. Everything here works really well. It looks really good. I'd say the production is nice. The cards are nice feeling, good quality. There's plenty of everything. And we enjoyed it. I like it quite a bit. I think you should check it out, especially if you like engine builders, pirate themed games that take less than an hour to play. Yeah, I think you should check it out. Fleets of Fortune by Roxie Games.
Awesome. Well, we all hope you enjoyed this vlog of Fleets of Fortune, and we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our content. So yeah, we'll catch you all in the next one. Toodles!